Story Wilson with RSWSolutions.com. This is my P38 Range Rover, and today we're going to go over some of the problems with the blower motors that I'm having with the HVAC system. In a previous video, we used the EAS Unlock version 4 tool to communicate with the HVAC system and determine that the blower motors have both stop mode faults and regulation faults. Obviously, first thing you check are the relays, which are a very common failure point, known to fail. They overheat and burn up. And check the fuses as well, and the pollen filters. Those are all a part of kind of the first troubleshooting steps when blower motors aren't working. But we've already checked the relays and fuses and pollen filters. They're not clogged. There's nothing else left to do. We also have confirming evidence that the blower motors have, like I said, the stop mode fault, the regulation fault. We need to pull the blower motors out, and hopefully we can actually repair them. There are a few things we can do. So first, we're going to do, we're going to remove this panel. Then we're going to remove the footwell panel, plastic panel. I was going to dig right in, and the blower motor comes out pretty easily with about 4 screws. Let's get started. So we really only need to remove a couple of things here to gain access to the blower motor. The blower motor is this assembly right here, and there are 4 screws holding it in. But to gain access to this, we need to first remove this, which is the cruise control module, just a couple of quick bolts. And then the only difficult part that may scare some people is this cabling raceway. It's plastic, and there are 2 kind of compression fittings, one down here at the bottom, and one over on the other side at the bottom as well. Just pop those compression fittings out of the metal brackets, and you really just have to, what we're going to do is really just kind of tear this out of the way. You're not going to hurt it, and then this blower motor will have access to the screws, and the blower motor will come out. So the best advice is don't be afraid of this. Here's the cruise control module. It's right here. Don't be afraid to pull this down. I'm going to loosen one of these little flaps so it gives some slack on the cable. But really, just work it out. It's just plastic, and the only thing in there is a cable run, so you're not going to damage that cable run. So now we can get to these screws for the blower motor. Let's go ahead and start getting those out. So then we may want to actually remove this multi-plug connector, which is the power, ground, and signal wires. It's really hard to pull out, so just got to give some force. There we go. Just for reference, the white and purple is 12-volt power. The ground is going to be, of course, the ground. Then we have 2 signal wires, one for go and one for stop. There's just one little tiny wire here that comes out, little signal wire. And now the assembly should come straight out with some fiddling. And voila, there we go, a blower motor. So let's get it over to the bench and start working on the on this control circuitry here, which I believe is what the defect is right now. So, one blower motor, left-hand blower motor. Again, you've got power, signal, ground, and signal wires, which you can bench test if you want to give it 12 volts and a ground. This thing, and take one of the signal wires to ground. This thing will spin like mad. Be very careful, it's very torquey. So let's get the motor out, and you see these recessed areas here, here, and here. Basically what you have is you have an outer plastic casing, you have rubber mounts, and then the motor is inside. So I believe we can simply start prying up on these rubber motor mounts, and we'll eventually wiggle our way, get this motor out of the housing. And again, this is the first time I've done this, so bear with me. go. One blower motor assembly. Wiring harness. Oh yeah, there's the wiring harness. Oops. Let's get that done. And through the case. Here's the case assembly, fan assembly. Brushes look, ooh, kind of worn out. But I bet you we can clean those up. And I bet you they'll clean those brushes up with some contact cleaner, put some silicone on the rubber. But we want to investigate this. This is the assembly that controls the relays. And the relays are what modulate the fan. And these relays are what the HVAC checks every time the key is turned in the ignition. A check on these relays is performed, and if it fails the check, which it did in my vehicle, the HVAC will not run the blower motors. Wow, look at that, there is a relay in there. So it is a mixture. There's solid state, and then there's this really peculiar relay, which, gosh, I mean, why would they do a mixture of solid state and then old school relays? I don't know. I'm just going to clean this up, and I've been told if you clean this up, reassemble, everything's going to work just fine. So let's get some good electrical contact cleaner. We have some deoxit gold. We also have some mass airflow sensor cleaner, which is about as pure of an electrical cleaner as you can get. And we're just going to, you know, do a quick little like that, and then that, and technically that's all you need, really. And we're going to reassemble this and give it a shot. Maybe that'll fix the problem. Reassembly is complete. We cleaned the communicator and the brushes with some good contact cleaner, then coated it with electrical cleaner, deoxit gold. And like I said, we cleaned the relay off and put some silicone on all the bushings so it's much easier to slide in. And then now, let's just go ahead and put it back in the car, and I bet you, cross fingers crossed, this blower motor will work just fine. We've already established the motor works by manually running the motor, and you know, there's nothing else left but the regulator portion. So let's put this regulator. This is the part that I suspect has failed. It's a very simple part, but I bet you this was all it was really. It was really filthy in here. So clean this out should make it work. Reassemble, put it back in the car, and I bet you we'll have a full blower motor. And next, I'm just going to do the right-hand side, and hopefully I'll have 2 functioning blower motors. Haha! Don't forget to put the regulator back in before you put the blower back in. Oops.